time I draw my blood, I'm gonna give each person that I know a vial of my blood.
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm gonna go over everything that I've experienced and learned with installing an aftermarket hardtop on an S2000. That way you can do it too. All questions answered. If there is anything that comes up, then just drop a question down below, but I'm gonna try to go over everything that I can think of on the spot right now. This is gonna be going over installing the hardtop, where to mount the seals, how to adjust it, as well as getting it so it does not make a single sound. Before I did what I'll show you, it was obnoxiously loud and it was embarrassing when somebody new would get in the car and I would be trying to like explain myself, and it wasn't fun. And it was like $5 and it was completely fixed, no issues whatsoever, no sounds, no nothing. So we're gonna cut to a few months ago when I finally got the hardtop. It's been installed for a while, so I've had experience with it. I've kind of played with things and got everything fixed. So we're gonna cut to that video right now. Look at this. So this is the Forbidden USA Mugen style double-sided carbon. So it's carbon on the outside, carbon on the inside. This is the 2x2 weave, which is the kind of the typical carbon fiber weave that you see. The 1x1 just, it looks fake to me. It looks like fake carbon fiber, so I don't really care for that, and I feel like most people's opinions are gonna be the same. I actually opted to not have the window installed for me, and I went and picked up some 3M window weld, which was like 30 bucks, and then I opened up the package from FedEx. They installed the window technically for free because I opted out of not doing that. I was going to do it myself just to save a couple bucks, which if you're going to order one of these, just have them do it. Just save yourself the hassle. It's going to cost you half as much just to get the stuff to do it, and they've done thousands of these probably, so they know what they're doing. But yeah, oh, I'm so stoked. You got... Oh, ooh, they're stealing. Jesus, you just literally just slammed that down, and that fucker is heavy. Can you pick it up? God. Anyway, this is Forbidden USA's carbon hardtop, and it is also carbon on the inside as well. Fitment is great. It really didn't take much to get it to where the door just sneaks in there, doesn't hit. This gap is pretty decent. The gap back here is a little bit bigger. It's about the tip of my pinky, but that is because of the seal that I put in, and I'm perfectly fine with this being a little bit bigger of a gap, but zero noise. The fitment around the front is perfect all the way across. There's no like larger gaps or anything else like that. Everything is even. Both sides are the same. The windows roll all the way up. You can open and shut the door with the windows open or with the windows up, and they don't hit anywhere. The only thing you have to be aware of is if you go with the Mugen style, is if you open up the trunk all the way, it does hit this, so you don't want to just let that fly open. Now on the inside, I'm just reusing the OEM latches, which I transferred over from the soft top, and these have been working perfectly fine. The street brackets that you can get with their hardtop are just one-piece metal plates, and they'll mount behind here, which I'll take this all apart to show you where it's mounted and everything. And then you have 3 10 mils here, and that's it. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take everything apart and show you guys what you need to do in order to install it, and then show you the process that I went through to make this fit like an OEM top. No noise, no squeaks, no rattles, no wind noise, no water dripping through, nothing, just perfect. All right, so the first tool that you guys are gonna need to remove the interior panels is a Phillips head screwdriver. And don't mind that piece of work, just remove the bed on that so I can actually wrap the bed and do a proper wrap job on a truck, because usually you can't get around the back side of the bed. You're going to want to move your seat up, get the seat belt out from here, and then you're going to have these little hangers. You just flip that down and you have a Phillips head there, and I believe it is also an 8mm, but we're going to see if we can just get these with the Phillips head, which we should be able to. Oh yeah. So you got one there and one there. Remove those, and then this panel, just pry from the bottom of it and just give it a good yank and it'll pop right off. It's only held in with clips. And then it just pops off. All these are just plastic. The plastic is fairly soft, so you don't really have to worry about breaking these like some other clips. So once you have that off, next thing that you're going to want to move to is this sill plate. And now you don't necessarily have to, you can pry this up and get this panel off, but it's just easier if you just pull this off. And this is also just, once you have the door sill plate removed, you can move on to this panel. You're gonna have just a Phillips head screw right down in here, and then once you take that out, you can remove this piece. Now I have a roll bar and everything in the way, but it's unbolted right now, so I can move this if I absolutely need to. But what you want to do with this is just pull out. It'll pop away from there, and once that's out, then you can pull up on it and just work it around wherever it gets hung up. And right now mine is getting hung up on the roll bar, so I'm gonna actually put you guys down, get this out, but it's very simple. And now that that's pulled out, you can see where it was rubbing on the roll bar just from the roll bar being in here, but that's where it was getting kind of hung up on. But you just give her a good tug, it'll come right out. Since I've already had the hardtop installed and the brackets are installed, here is how you're gonna wanna install this bracket. The orientation of it, the way it bends, is different from that side. So this is the passenger side. So after you remove these two bolts here, you'll put the bracket on and just put the bolts right back in. And leave them fairly loose for right now, just so you can move this around to adjust it with the hardtop, just to get everything lined up, and then you can come back in, tighten everything down, and then after that's done, then put in your trim pieces. Don't just throw this in, tighten it down, and then try to get your hardtop aligned, because you may need to adjust it slightly. Once you have those in, you can go ahead and move on to the hardtop and getting all the seals put in. Wait to put these front seals in until you have the hardtop on the car and mounted where it needs to be, and then you can go in behind that and then put this seal in. That way you know exactly where to trim it and where to put it, so the window is actually able to roll up without any interference. You don't want the window to roll up into the center of this. You want it to go just to the outside of it, but be snug. You don't want gaps also, so water's getting in. And with this one, this is what is included with it. You're gonna want to butt it up right up to the edge as far as you can go. There is a little lip here, but you want to get it as far over as possible, and then you lay the round portion of it just along this groove or bend in the hardtop. And without this here and everything, you'll see exactly where it'll need to go, but this is where I put mine, and it's been working just fine. So you put it there and run it all the way to the other side, and then just cut that side off flush with this. You'll have a little bit left over, so what I did is I just doubled up just in this portion right here, because a lot of people have issues where they can't get the hardtop to sit flat enough where you'll still see light peeking through and things like that. I don't have any gaps anywhere. It's exactly where it needs to be. And then transfer over, if you don't have specific brackets for the front here, these OEM latches do just fine. Just transfer these over, and these are just two Phillips head screws that go in, and tighten them down pretty decent, but you don't have to really snug them up, because if you do, you can pull the threads from the carbon fiber itself, and you don't want to do that. So get them snug, but don't just overdo it. And this is literally all I did to keep it from rattling and squeaking and just making all kinds of noise. which originally when I put it on, I wanted to see how bad it actually was. What was the hype behind everybody's complaints about the hardtop noise. All I did was went to local hardware store and just got some foam weather stripping, and this is a little bit thicker than you need. But all it is, it has an adhesive side, and I just ran it along this. This is 1 inch wide. Just ran it all the way along this factory black portion, and then just cut it flush with the edge. That is it. That is all you have to do in order to fix all the issues that people have with noise and hardtops on S2000s. That's it. $5, you're done. Never have to worry about it again. No! Do it myself to show them that they can do it themselves. They, them.
My pronouns are he, because I'll never be him.
Alright, super light weight. And then if you're doing this yourself, like, I don't recommend it just because you could potentially scratch it, but you're going to want to get it around the bracket and get it so it butts up against it. And then now you can see it's too far forward, so you just move it back and it literally will just drop into place where it needs to be, pretty much. So now what I usually do is I just wiggle it forward to get it tied up against the seal. I'll try to put these latches on, and just like with the soft top, it closed, latch down, it's sealed over here, so I know that that's aligned. And then I do the same thing with the other side. Simple. Now what you're going to want to do is make sure that your bracket is lined up where it needs to be, and this is why you left the bolts loose before you started putting panels back on. Alright, so once you have this bracket tightened down, lined up, you're going to go through and just start threading these in, but do not tighten them down all the way. Now when you go to tighten these down, what you're going to want to do to make sure that everything seals good is basically just put an arm on top of the hardtop and just put some weight on it so it kind of compresses, because you do have 2 layers of foam padding underneath it, or weather stripping. So to get the gap in the back as little as possible, you're going to want to put some weight on it. And then that's it as far as installing the hardtop. You still have this weather strip that you still have to do, which I'll go over right now. Before I put this weather stripping on, I rolled up the window and just test fitted everything with the window up to see if the window was actually going to hit right up on this edge, because a lot of times I've seen people in their videos that I've watched where they've actually, the window just scrapes up against this. So that will tell you that you need to adjust certain things, and to do that you can just either loosen up the bolts that you just tightened down and move this up a little bit, relieve some of the pressure. The double seal should be more than enough to make sure that your window is never going to hit right here, but every hardtop is going to be slightly different. Roll up your window and then just don't slam your door first try. Just go in and just slowly start closing it, and make sure that you are going to have clearance all the way around. And now with this one, it's pretty tight right up there, but it clears it no problem. And this will also kind of give you a good idea of where to put that seal. And I had to actually, I stuck it on, but I didn't really put pressure on it to get it to stick. I just lightly pressed it on and then shut the door with the window up to see if this was actually going to make contact all the way around, because that will create some wind noise if there's a gap, and you will also get water that drips in, especially if you're just cars sitting. Water will leak in, car washes, things like that. So you just double check with that. If everything is good with the fitment of the hardtop, then you can go ahead and start putting the seal in. It's not as clean as I would like it to look, so I'll probably eventually just replace this seal. Thing sounded terrible. I probably will replace this just because it'll look a little bit cleaner, but right now there's no issues with water or wind or anything else coming through. But you'll want this seal to come down all the way down to this factory rubber piece here, and then on this top one you'll want it to come and butt up against the factory weather stripping. And like I said before, you are probably gonna need to remove this, put it back on and everything a couple of different times in order to get it just right. But here is where I have mine. You can see I still haven't put these bolts in, and even then you just have a tiny little gap right there where you can see light, and that'll go away as soon as I tighten all this down. But there's no light or leaks or anything all the way around with that extra stripping that I put on. I would definitely recommend wiping this down with isopropyl alcohol really good so that this sticks and doesn't come off. Here is what you have to watch out for with your trunk. And now I have a wing so it doesn't just fly up on me, but the trunk will make contact with the hardtop, so you need to be super careful when opening your trunk if you have the Mugen style. I'm gonna set you up in the car and we'll go for a little drive, and you can listen to it here for yourself. There is zero noise, which even if there was, you might not be able to hear it over the exhaust and everything, but figured why not. I'll prove it to you as best as I can. All right guys, so we are in the S2000 and we're just gonna go for a little drive. You're not going to hear anything other than us talking and the exhaust.
You're not going to hear anything, just be at the video.
You're not going to hear anything. Like I said, guys, I don't know if you would even be able to tell if it was creaking right now or not, just because of the drone in here. But other than drone, you don't hear anything else. And it's a beautiful thing, because I thought I could maybe just live with the creaking and everything that you get with it, but it got bad and you get sick of it and it becomes super annoying. And like I said, it's embarrassing when you have other people in the car with you and you make a slow turn or go up into a driveway or something like that, and it's just nothing but creaking. It makes you feel like your car is just a piece. So
because it was a loud creak, because I remember when it was before it had been like, stripped shut. Yeah, it sounds so good. I love the exhaust in this.
The exhaust sounds 10 times better with the top off. Like, it's a totally different note that you hear, because it gets rid of the drone and then you can hear the exhaust like super clear, and it has a specific, there's like a specific like growl that it has with the titanium test pipe that is just awesome.
Is this a full exhaust? Headers and everything?
No, I don't have headers. I would have bought headers if I would have stuck with the plan to supercharge it.
Oh, since you're turboing it,
but since I'm turboing it, I don't want to waste the money on header.
Yeah, because you do the turbo manifold for it.
Yeah, guys, even just oh, it's so much better in this seat. But
it doesn't roll at all, it just goes where you put it.
Yeah, there's zero body roll with this car.
I love this car.
But even like doing things like that where like the chassis is actually twisting, it's moving, even if it's just very slightly, and the hardtop would make a ton of noise when doing something like that, and it no longer does. Well guys, that's pretty much everything that you really need to know in order to install a hardtop on your S2000. And again, this was Forbidden USA's Mugen style carbon fiber hardtop, and super straightforward, super easy, and it's literally a $5 fix. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video, comment down below if you have any questions whatsoever, and enjoy your hardtop.